It's day 47, November 7th. This episode takes place the morning after the previous. Since the previous episode, where everybody was at the beach, someone had to rush back to the hatch after Hurley handed out the food to type in the code. And also at some point, Hurley might have taken a shift there as well during the night. Sun realizes she has lost her wedding ring. She goes through her stuff, Jack is heading off to the Swan, but talks to Sun for a bit. Jin, Michael and Sawyer spend their night at the Arrow. The Arrow is not as exciting as the Swan, no pantry or living quarters. I think the proximity to the barracks suggests that this was a station that the Dharma workers traveled to from the barracks. Later we learned that the Arrow's purpose was to gather intelligence and the development of defensive strategies against the hostiles. That makes sense with the logo being a weapon and no signs of any scientific instruments. And since Horace Goodspeed was the leader of the Dharma Initiative on the island, at least at some point, it makes sense that his assigned workstation was at the Arrow. It's situated into the mountain wall like a bunker from World War II. For all we know, this could have been built by the US Army at first, back when they were on the island, before Dharma came and reused it as a secret Dharma station, as well as installing some sort of phone line, since Horace mentions that they could call the Arrow. Since it dealt with defensive strategies here, then there might have been desks filled with papers and maps as well as a lot of guns. But since the Dharma Initiative hasn't existed for years, the station has been cleared out. A fun fact is that in season 5 we'll learn that both Jin and Sawyer, who are currently in the Arrow, will work in Dharma security and likely have been at the station. The orientation film for the Arrow was made during their time on the island, while Sawyer was head of security. So for all we know, they could have been the ones to suggest this place because of their knowledge of its proximity to the hostiles, learned in this episode and found. I've made 2 maps of the Arrow, one that I presented in the previous episode, which is how the station looks officially. Unofficially, I've added this room here, the bathroom. You see, there's these pipes that run along the rocky corridor here, and they go into the wall over here. So my theory is that in here is the bathroom. So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Moving out where?
You're gonna help us get food and water.
What, we work for you now?
You're gonna do it because we have a long walk ahead of us.
Anyway, back to the episode. Ana Lucia tells them they are moving out. Echo goes around the place to scout. Then he comes back. Libby and Michael go to pick some fruit. Jin joins Ana Lucia and Bernard and they go fishing. You might recognize this beach. It's our own beach camp, Papailoa Beach, otherwise known as Police Beach, one of the many instances of a location that has been reused even though it's not supposed to be our beach camp.
Where the hell are all the fruit?
Yeah, we pick these trees pretty clean. Sometimes you can find them on the ground.
Why don't you head inland? That's where all the fruit is on our side.
Michael has taken off. Echo and Jin go after him. They get up a hill and then Jin is knocked down by a boar. He finds Goodwin's body. Some have commented that the death site of Goodwin has been changed, but I think the boar is a clue here. His body is currently being dragged down by boars.
So, is that in the good Korea or the bad Korea?
A good one.
Hurley helps Sun by watching Vincent. Then she goes back to the garden and tears it up. Locke's here. He's probably been at the hatch and is going back to the beach. Hurley is probably at the hatch now. Kate says later in the episode that he told her about the wedding ring.
Hurley told me that you lost your wedding ring.
So she's been pushing the button for a bit as well. It seems like they rotated between those 4 people as of now: Jack, Locke, Kate and Hurley. Even though the Lost crew repeated a well-known beach location, I must compliment the crew with selecting a few very exotic and new locations in this episode. The Waihee Valley Trail. At the end of the trail is the Waihee Waterfall. I've been messing around with Google Street View app, as you know, and I've found this location. Jin and Echo hide. A group of the others pass by. They are muddy and wear ragged clothing. We learn later that there is a group of people at the temple that we don't get to see until season 6. I think that this was the kids' journey from the temple and back to the barracks. We know that in the temple, people go barefoot and don't wear the modern clothing seen in the barracks. The kids have both worn ragged clothing as seen in season 6, but also modern clothing while being with Ben's group. The scene with Ben and Juliet in The Other Woman has already taken place.
Ben, they've been asking me about their mother in Los Angeles. I'm not really sure what to say.
They'll stop asking in time.
They're children. Do they really belong here?
Ben's comment about the kids could suggest that he sent them to the temple so they would be placed in the pool like they did when he was a kid, which can conveniently make you forget certain parts of your life and make you a true member of the other's community.
If I take him, he's not ever going to be the same again. He'll forget this ever happened and that his innocence will be gone.
The others, along with the kids, walked this way from the temple and towards the barracks, indoctrinated with the others. Echo and Jin get to a stream and find Michael near a waterfall. This is the Waihe waterfall, otherwise known as Hamama Falls. Jin, Michael and Echo trek the same route back, trying to find the trail of Ana Lucia's group. There is something off-screen that happens somewhere around this time. Tom arrives at the Pearl Station. This event is mentioned by Ben and Juliet during the flashbacks of Exposé. Why he was here at this time, we don't know. This is not long after he kidnapped Walt. He could have learned from Walt that they were about to open that thing and gotten the information from Walt's premonitions that the survivors were about to enter a Dharma station. Maybe he wanted to check that out to see if they met Desmond. Or it could have been something they routinely checked to see if there were people still at the Swan station. Or it could be as simple as him checking out the station, since the Beechcraft had fallen down, so he wanted to see if nothing had happened to the station. Anyway, he leaves and goes back. At the end, Sun finds the wedding ring. That's it for this week. Stay tuned for Abandoned.